Okay, you guys, in this video, we are going to be cutting open our lid. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit about how we want to make sure the lid's going to stay in place. Okay, so you should have your piece finished. I'm not done carving the face out, but you can see making progress. We're almost there. And so I'm going to just demonstrate the lid. Your pumpkin should be leather hard, so it should be able to support its own weight and should be like halfway dry. So it's still cold to the touch. I can still carve it, but really kind of past doing a lot of manipulation of the clay at this point. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to cut an asymmetrical opening, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. But before we get into that, we want to talk about the angle of cutting. Okay, if this is a cross section of your pumpkin, when you cut, you want an inward diagonal cut for the lid. And so you are probably going to be using something like a turntable to put your pumpkin on so you can rotate it nicely. But you want it to be an inward angle when you're cutting. So if this is my pumpkin, I'm always cutting at an inward angle towards the inside of the pumpkin, not this way, right? That way. It's an inward angle when I'm cutting. Okay. What we don't want is we don't want an outward angle. And we also don't want a straight 90-degree angle because gravity. If you cut it like this, the lid won't sit on top, it'll fall in. If we do it this way, it creates a natural resting place for the lid to just sit right on top. And that's what we're looking for, okay? Now, if you do cut it this way, or if you have a lid that you want to sit like on top that's more flat, this is what you're gonna have to do. Once you cut it open, you're going to have to build a little lip on the inside where that lid can rest so that it doesn't fall in, okay? And so be aware of that. You don't want to create more problems in your life. This is the easiest approach, this one, inward diagonal and not at a straight 90-degree angle, okay? So we're going to do that right now. So here's my kitty that is going to be finished this weekend at home. Yeah. And so I'm going to cut my lid opening. And one of the things I'm going to do, because it makes it easier to put the lid on fast, is I'm going to make it not symmetrical. And so instead of cutting a perfect circle like this, right? Because then my lid can fit any number of different directions. I'm going to make it a little uneven like that. Or I can do something like this. Or I can do any shape you want. Basically, you could come in and do a star pattern. It's up to you to choose whatever you want, but just don't make it perfectly round. Okay. So what I'm going to do to prepare for that is, I hope that was on screen. So yeah, any shape that's not round. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw it on with my pencil first. Okay. So I'm going to come around here, and I think I want it to do some of this, and then right here I think I'm gonna V it up a little bit. V like that, and then I think I'll do the same thing again over here. So that's the shape I'm gonna make. My clay could be a little drier than this before I cut, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm just making sure not to leave any little clay wads anywhere, right? I am still coming back to texture this whole thing, which I'm gonna do with this guy. But I'm gonna do that after I take my lid off. Now, I have to have whatever I'm using for my lid pull attached. So you have to have your stem, whatever shapes you are putting on there, already attached before you can do this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting. So when I cut, I'm holding it at that angle inward. And this is the tool you're going to use. So you're going to have either this tool or this tool in your supplies. Okay, so I'm just going to carefully go around, keeping it at the same angle. And I'm just going to cut all the way through. And I want to be neat and tidy with this because I don't want to have to do extra work. And you can see how angled it is. Right, I want a nice interior seat for my lid to sit on. And if there's any time to go slow and be really deliberate, this is it. Okay, because anything you get all messy, you have to clean. And I'm doing my best to maintain that same angle all the way through my pumpkin. And here I'm going to just wiggle it a little before I come out. Same thing here, and you can feel when it gets through. And I'm just being careful with all of it. So every part of the cut that I do is that same angle. Slow and steady wins the race, you guys. Oh, I just realized I must have cut myself on something. It's low-key gross. Okay. So see, I'm trying to keep that same diagonal angle, because then we have a lip already in there for our jack-o'-lantern lid to rest on. Sewing motion is definitely the best way to go for this. Oh, dang it. I'll fix that later. So gentle, steady pressure, everyone, right? Now, if we got everything, this will just come right off when we get all our corners. So I can feel that it's grabbing over here somewhere. Okay, I think it's this interior cut right here. So I'm going to go back through and just wiggle that corner to make sure it's loosened. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's it. Okay, so once it's off, we're going to smooth all this out right here. Okay. And get rid of any clay burrs that are on the lips right here of our opening. And then this is when you're gonna go in and smooth up the inside of this lid. Let's get everything nicely connected. Gently smooth up the inside of your lid. Oh, mine was messier than I thought, but that's okay. Okay, and as you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you're keeping that opening for the inside of the stem so that it's not too thick and so that we're not trapping any air bubbles. So you're gonna tidy that up. You're gonna get rid of every clay burr that's on here, right? We're gonna get this all cleaned up, and you're gonna do it with gentle pressure because we don't wanna lose any of the beautiful texture that we have outside. Okay, so we're just gonna get everything nice and tidy. And that's how we do it. Now, having an asymmetrical lid makes it super easy to put this back on in exactly the right place. And we'll just fire that with that attached, but slightly off center so that it won't stick back together in the kiln. And that is pretty much it. So you just want to be really careful, really deliberate. And when you're cleaning up, have your sponge so you can keep your hands clean and get all this done. And then come back and add texture as the last thing if you're planning to do that. And that's it. There's our nice lid on our vessel. Meow. Okay. Good luck, and just go slow and be really careful.